If you're a freshman or sophomore right now in high school and you want to know how to increase your chances of getting accepted to colleges by 10% at any university, watch this video because I'm going to talk about something that you can do in your free time over the course of a couple months that will help get you those 10%. Hey, welcome back to the Double Ivy Grad. I'm a double Ivy grad. I work with some of the world's richest families to help their kids get into the Ivy League and other top 20 universities. And on this channel, I share some of what I know. What are we going to talk about with the 10%? How are you going to get that? I'm going to cut to the chase. It's all about how you're going to choose the major that you're going to apply with. That's it. Okay, so let's go into the details. So you may know or may not that a lot of your acceptance has to do with the type of major you're applying into, because universities, when they are accepting students, they're accepting a certain quota of students. So for every university, and it's a little different from one school to the next, but they have a certain percentage of the incoming class that will study biology, chemistry, neuroscience, computer science, so on and so forth. So they are trying to accept students for that particular cohort. So when you're applying, let's say as a computer science major, you're not really competing with every applicant who's applying to the school. You're competing with every other applicant that's applying to the school as a computer science major, right? So speaking of, we'll talk about computer science as an example in this video, but this can apply to some of the other competitive majors as well. So it seems like in this day and age, every third person applying is applying into computer science. They love computer science, and I get it. High prospects, you make a lot of money, quite stable, and it's where the future is going. Problem is, unless you're an absolute nerd or a freak of nature within computer science, then your chances of getting into a computer science program at a top school are slim to none. So what's going to happen now for you if you're not one of those two and you want to do computer science? Well, what you want to do is not apply computer science unless you don't really care about the type of university that you are going to go to. If you want to go to like a top 50, top 100 and still can study computer science, go do it. But what I tell students is what you end up actually majoring in school and what you apply as going to be majoring in can be two different things. The first day that you get that acceptance from your dream school, you can totally change and do any other major. You're not committed to the major that you put on your Common App. So what that means is there's going to be a specific strategy that you want to think about how to apply. Evaluate your own candidacy. And like I said, if you're not one of those two, a freak of nature or an absolute nerd in computer science, then you're going to want to think about, well, what is an adjacent major, a less competitive major that I can work towards? So here's what we're going to be talking about. And what you should be doing right now, especially if you're a freshman or sophomore, is go to your top 5 dream schools major websites. So every university has a website page that lists out all of their majors offered at that school. And what I want you to do is then go through and look at the majors that are similar to the one you want to apply to. For example, in this case for computer science, you want to look at computer science adjacent majors. And then after you look at that, I want you to open up every page and look at the department website. You're going to look at the types of courses offered, the requirements for the major, where students have worked, what kind of extracurriculars they're doing, all of that. That's listed on the major website. And I want you to essentially get a sense of what is that major about? What does it teach? Because you likely may have not even heard of it or even considered it besides computer science. You're like, that's the only thing I have in my mind and I'm not going to even think about anything else. Because what happens is one of two things. You may find a major you're actually interested in that you never just considered before. And then you still have time if you're, again, a freshman or a sophomore. For juniors, this is going to be much more difficult. But you'll have time to actually do the extracurriculars, do the activities that will put you in a place that you can actually apply into those other majors and make it look right. Because there are some students that last minute, they're like, oh my God, my entire application is computer science. And then all of a sudden I want to switch into this other major. And it comes across as very disingenuous. Admissions committee officers, they know this. They've seen it year after year. And you're not fooling anybody. And it hurts you. You might as well just apply computer science. So this is the important thing. Find that computer science adjacent major or the adjacent major to your competitive major and try to put together an application and extracurriculars that speak to that major specifically so that not only do you become competitive for that major, but you're now applying against a lot less other students because nobody really knows about this major. Nobody really is pursuing it like that, especially as a freshman or as a sophomore. So I'm going to go here and now show you how you can actually do this. So here is an example of Cornell's major list page. So all you're going to do is go to Google, type in the name of the university you're interested in, and then go to their majors. And you're going to scroll down and you're going to see a lot of majors. And yeah, you can filter it by the specific school. You can filter it by first year students or whatever, but that doesn't really matter here. And what I want you to do is you're going to go down and look at every single major for that school and write down the ones that seem interesting to you and are adjacent to the major that you want to apply into. So we said, let's say computer science. So you want to be a computer science major, but you're looking for something different. So what can we find? First of all, there's a College Scholar independent major. So that's interesting. Some universities have like a make up your own major kind of thing, which could be particularly interested for those who have an interest in studying something that doesn't neatly fit into any of the majors listed. And if you have a compelling reason for that, that can make you very attractive to schools. All right, there we go. We found computer science. Well, that's good. We're going to leave that there for now. Okay. So here we have information science and information science systems and technology. And you're actually going to find this at most universities. May not have exactly this name, but this is a wonderful major that everybody should really consider. And it's a lot easier to get into. It's not as competitive as computer science, but that does not mean it's easy. And the reason for that is you can't just have any old application and then just say, oh, I want to do information science and expect them to believe you. You need to actually put in the effort to showcase this demonstrated interest in information science or information science systems and technology. So let's say, okay, you come across this. It seems like it's adjacent to computer science, but you want to learn a little bit more. Well, here we go. We can visit the major page. And what you're going to do is spend about 20 minutes or so on this page. And you're going to learn everything about what the major is, who studies it, what kinds of careers people have, the major requirements in terms of the courses people need to take, and what those course descriptions are. And that'll give you a sense into what this major is about, who does this kind of major, and more importantly, what things you should be doing right now in high school to actually be putting yourself in the best place to apply to these kinds of majors. So let's take a quick look here. Information Science Systems and Technology, College of Engineering, great. This Bachelor of Science in Information Systems, and Technology allows students to study the creation, representation, organization, application, and analysis of information in a digital age. Sounds like a mouthful. So this is where you're going to emphasize, there's an emphasis on information systems, engineering in broad application context where issues at the confluence of information science, technology, and management. So again, this just seems like a interdisciplinary major where it combines a lot of these engineering, computer science, systems formation types of sciences into one. Now, it's interesting. You can really pivot and do this. For example, students are taking classes that are around operations research, statistics, computer science, so you get all your computer science fixed there, econ, social and organizational context. So it's a very interdisciplinary major, and if you have the right story behind this, then you can increase your chances by at least 10%, if not more. So if you go to courses, you could even look at list of InfoSci courses, right? So what are things people are learning? They learn about information ethics, law, and policy, choices and consequences of computing, introductory design programming for the web, data science, networks, communications and technology. And then you can click on it and try to learn a little bit more who teaches it. And if they have a description about the course, learn about that. You spending maybe half an hour every week for a couple months trying to explore different majors and things like that will help you understand the other possibilities out there besides just the tried and true computer science that everybody and their mom is applying into. So do this for any major that you're doing and let me know which ones you find.